and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age. That is the word of the Lord.
Now, here's a question. I'm going to need you to find a neighbour. If you just want to be calm in your own head, just look down at the floor. But it's a really easy question. I'd love you to chat about what are you missing about Christmas? Because tomorrow is the 12th day of Christmas. Technically, it finishes. Some of us have to go back to school. Some of us have to go back to work. Some of us will just pack the decorations away. So what are we missing about Christmas? Turn to your friend. 30 seconds. Ready, steady, go. Let's hear what you're going to be missing. Shout them out. Shout them out what you're going to miss. Chocolate, I heard. Christmas. Okay, now I've caused anarchy. Go for it, Mary. Friends and school. You're going to miss school. Oh. Come on, Brian. What are you missing? Family. Okay. Ronnie. Yeah, you're going to miss the quiet. Late mornings, yeah, the lions, they're gone. There could be all sorts of things, can't they? We could miss the presents, we could miss the food, we could miss the fun, we could miss the feeling of Christmas, we could miss, in the first service, people said the lights, the carols. It could mean that we'll miss the sleep, the rest. We miss having a holiday from school, from work. We miss maybe people. Those that brought us presents or the precious family or friends that we have. Maybe there might be family that live miles away, maybe in another country that we get to see, and then they're not there. Christmas is one of those times, isn't it, where often, maybe when we become adults more so, we realize there's often an empty chair at Christmas. There's a person that isn't there, that we miss, that we wish could enjoy Christmas with us. Maybe someone who's moved away, or maybe someone who's died. Here's a person I miss. He's my friend Will. Let's see if we can throw him on the screen. Here's Will. Will lives in Bristol. Will and I went to uni together. He was my best man. He orchestrated the proposal to Sarah. It's the most romantic thing I've ever done. I haven't seen Will since October. Before then, I haven't seen him for about 3 years. And I miss him. We don't often get to see one another. He's got family, we're busy, all of those things. So I've come up with an idea, I'll see what you think, to kind of help us in the missing season to replace him. So here we go. So, here he is. So Will, I hope you're watching on live stream. So here's Will. He's going to come with me now. He never has to go back to Bristol. He can come with me. Might be a quieter affair than normally our conversations. So what do you think of my idea to keep Will with me? Brian, what do you think? Good idea?
This is a terrible idea.
Thank you. For those not on the live stream or those hard of hearing, Brian said it's a terrible idea. Great. Okay, go on, Charlotte.
I think it's a great idea. I really wish there was like a wooden thing of my dad somewhere.
It would be great, wouldn't it, to have a reminder of people that we've lost. Hold your thoughts there, Charlotte, for one moment. But yeah, what do others think? Is this going to replace? Is this better than Will? No? Okay. Because he doesn't move, does he? I suppose I could flick him and it doesn't really hurt him. But I can't really have a conversation. I could take him with me on the bus. Hopefully the bus driver might let him on for free. That might be a benefit. But even though Will's only in Bristol, this isn't much of a replacement, is it? It's not going to really help. There's someone else I miss at Christmas. Here he is my granddad. My granddad was called Len. Richard, maybe press one down. There he is. He was called Len. He was about 6'2", and he died in 2005. And I miss him. And maybe, like Charlotte suggested, I should swap Will for my granddad. But that's lovely. But Will's in Bristol, but my granddad isn't alive anymore. It's not really kind of. And he definitely didn't have those kind of muscles on his body by the time he was 75. It doesn't really work, does it? Well, we're going to see that Jesus makes a promise in those verses that Vi promised us with to be with us forever. And not in a kind of cardboard cutout way, in a way that is far better, far more exciting than even if we'd been there when Jesus was alive. So come with me, come and have a look. Because very often, don't we, at Christmas, we think, right, Jesus, he comes as a baby. We did the all-age nativity. He was there. And now, and John's retired, so we can't do this. We'll have to work this out between us. We've got to pack him all away. So he's got to go back in the shed, down the corridor. Right, done with Jesus. Back we go down. All the Christmas decorations, we've finished. Done with Jesus. Is that what Jesus is like? He only comes at Christmas. Oh, we'll get him out again at Easter when we remember he died and rose again. Well, no, he's not. Not in these words of this promise. Maybe adults, sometimes we feel like he's left us or abandoned us. Maybe sometimes we feel he doesn't care about us. Or maybe we feel we don't need him. But look at this promise in verse 20 where Jesus says he's kind enough to be with us forever. A promise. Now, Wenna and Jemima, can I borrow you guys? I'm going to promise that I'm going to be with you forever. So could you just maybe go for a walk, okay? I'm going to be with you forever, every step of the way. Just here. Don't worry, you keep going about your day. I'm just here. Is this good? Are you enjoying this, Wenna?
It's a little bit creepy.
It's a little bit creepy. Okay. Okay. Sometimes we think if someone's with us forever, that would get a bit weird. I mean, sometimes maybe we wanted, quite frankly, over Christmas, family, thank you so much, 2 days is enough, no more. Off you go. Friends, 3 hours, fine, goodbye, thank you, with us forever. Is that a good promise? But it is a good promise. Because Jesus is kind enough to be with us forever. That's what he promises in verse 20. Can you see there? Surely I'm with you always to the very end of the age. Now, throughout Christmas, we've been thinking about Jesus being kind. We often think about what he does, that he comes as a baby, or that he dies on a cross, or that he rises again. But we've been thinking not just what he does, but who he is. Seeing that he's kind enough to leave heaven, kind enough to come down to be near us, kind enough to understand what it's like to be a person with skin on. Kind enough to forgive, kind enough to be a winning king, kind enough to save, and now here, kind enough to stay. You know, sometimes we have kind people, don't we, that we enjoy being with, but then they go, it's temporary. Well, Jesus' tenderness isn't temporary, his kindness is eternal. Look, verse 20, I'm with you always to the very end of the age. To the very end. Right until Jesus comes back. When he promises in Revelation 21 that there'll be a day where he comes and he wipes every tear from our eye, where we'll see him face to face. We'll get to be with him. Jesus promises that he's going to be with us for all eternity. Now, if you remember right the way back, Richard, I wonder if you might put up this verse on the screen for us. As the angel speaks to Mary and Joseph, look what she says. Look what the angel says. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. We were thinking about how that means that this little baby is no ordinary baby, but it's God here with us, right here. But look, that promise, Jesus hasn't changed. I'm with you always to the very end of the age. He's always going to be with us as a baby. And now, well, how's he going to be with us? Well, we need to follow on the story in the Acts as we find out that's a gift of God's Spirit. Him come to live in with us. And children, I was trying to think how to help us understand this. Maybe you have a cuddly toy that you take to bed with you, one that you wrap under your arm and you like to take places, particularly when you're feeling maybe slightly frightened. Well, Jesus is even better than a cuddly toy because I can't take the cuddly toy everywhere I go. Maybe adults, we think about this as a person, the kind of memory of them, someone we've lost or we've loved or we're not with. You know, we kind of relive the stories, what they're like in our head. But Jesus is with us always, his person. The best, and it's still wrong I could think of, was a bit like a mobile phone. Now, I sometimes walk down the street. Do you see people walking down the street sort of FaceTiming, WhatsApp calling, camera calling like this? I mean, it's not very exciting, is it? You know, to watch me whilst I do my normal tasks. But whoever's on that phone is always with us. Jesus not just always with us, always able to talk to, always able to ask, but always here, not just at the end of a phone. Far better for us. It's a promise when God makes in the Old Testament, in Joshua chapter 1, he promises to Moses that he'll never leave him nor forsake him. He's not going to go away. And look, Jesus says, I'm with you to the very end of the age. I'm not going. I'm never going to leave nor forsake. So what does that mean? It must mean he likes us, doesn't it? You wouldn't stick with somebody to the very end of the age if you didn't like them. Oh, goodness me. That Jemima and Wenna, well, they're a bit annoying to be with. No, he likes us. It means our sins really are forgiven. He has saved us just as he promised. A holy God come to be with unholy people. It means he really has made us part of his family, who he loves dearly. One who he's come to live in our very hearts. The closest relationship we could ever have. That means if you're married or a partner, you have a far closer relationship than that person to Jesus. Children, far closer than a parent, a best friend, or whoever it may be. One who is close with us and stays with us. Who will never leave us. He can't die like my granddad. He can't move to Bristol like Will. He'll be with us forever until he sees us again. That's amazing, isn't it? That he's kind enough to stay with you and with I, no matter what we're like. And it's even more amazing, even more kind, when we see what he's like. Look back with me to verse 18. Verse 18, he says these words. All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Now, maybe, I don't know who's in charge of home. Maybe it might be mum or dad. Maybe husbands, you might be pointing to your wives. I don't know who's in charge. Who decides what's going to happen at home? Maybe we might have someone in charge of our country. But here, Jesus has authority. He's in charge of all of heaven and earth. Now, that's quite something, adults, isn't it? When we turn on our TV screens in the last 24 hours and see headlines that make us think, goodness me, what is going on in the world as leaders seemingly do what they want in other countries. But here's Jesus with all authority. All authority. And what does he choose to do with it? He chooses to come to be with you and with me. Wow. King Charles has never rung me up and said, James, I'd like to have tea with you. But Jesus wants to come and be with me forever, to the end of the age. Wow, how kind is Jesus that he wants to stay. So the question this leaves us with is, do we want that to be the case? Do we want Jesus to stay with us to the very end of our age? Well, the simple answer, if we do, is, well, we can. Here, look, verse 16, he's writing to his disciples, those that follow him. This is a promise for them, but for all the church. It's a promise about those who are going to become disciples like us today. And if we want that to be the case for us, then we need to do the two things Jesus asks here. To be baptized, to say, I follow Jesus, and to be taught to grow as a disciple. If that's us, then we get to enjoy this promise that he'll be with us to the very end of our age. When I've had a good day, when I've had a rubbish day, when I feel like he's drifted away and left me, I know he hasn't. When I walk through the hardest times, I know he's not left me. When I seem to be coasting in life and like I don't need him, I know he's not abandoned me. Because all he asks is that I baptize and follow. He's the one that I trust him. Now, friends, maybe that isn't you today. Children, maybe it's something you want to talk through with mum, dad, and adults. For you, if you want to say, yes, I want this promise. Maybe adults, that's you. Maybe Takumbo encouraging you to the 3-2-1 course might be a good next step for you. Maybe coming and chatting with us about Easter Sunday and the baptism service that will happen then. Maybe that might be an opportunity for you to say, this is the promise I want to claim of having this Jesus stay with me. But maybe for those of us who have this promise, we need to take hold in a new year. As Takumbo is reminding us of New Year's resolutions, today, more than 50% of people have given up, statistically, their New Year's resolution. Well, here's one. Jesus won't give up on you. So but how about, like Christine reminded us, we might stick with him, to follow him, to grow in him, to be taught by him, to seize hold of this promise, to come back to him when we fail, and to know its truth. But this promise, whenever it's given, both here and in the Old Testament, is supposed to inspire us to do something. In the Old Testament, when God said, I'm with you, it was normally because they had to do something. And here, these disciples are being asked, look, verse 19, to go and make disciples. They're being asked to do something, and God promises them to comfort them. I'm with you. I've got this. Maybe children, tomorrow as you go off to school, mum, dad says to you, look, tomorrow I'll be here when you get home. I'll pick you up. I'll make sure you've got your nice favourite tea ready. I don't know, maybe your warm pajamas, whatever it is. I'm here. Well, here's Jesus asking them to go, to do something, and making a promise to them. And that call to action comes to us too. Because as Jesus is kind enough to stay with us, he wants us to be kind to others. Kind, look, to those who aren't yet believers, go and make disciples. Kind to the world outside, kind enough to tell them about this Jesus who makes a promise to be with us. Kind enough. We're going to be thinking more over the coming few weeks as we kickstart a new year about what this year may look like for you and I to be kind to those outside, to seek to go and make disciples. But also to be kind not just to those out there, but those in here. Kind to his people. Because look, as well as making disciples, verse 20, teaching them to obey. That's not just the new person coming to believe in Jesus, but each of us growing up, being taught by Jesus. Being kind enough to help one another so that when we're going through the toughest time, they're not on their own, knowing that Jesus is with them, but they've got a church member, a friend, walking alongside. Kind enough to say, I care about your relationship with Jesus. I'm going to pray for you, encourage you, speak the truth in love to you. Kind to welcome, kind to help, kind to help see them grow.
Kind to encourage.
Thank you, Charlotte. Kind to encourage. It calls us to be kind as we know and receive this kind Jesus who promises to stay with us forever.